We are live. The game still going on, but it's pretty much over. Auburn falls to Ole Miss 14-28. Ole Miss outscores Auburn 14-0 in the second half. Auburn only manages to get four more first downs in the second half.
I don't
Total
know.
of 208 yards. Total offense 45 yards. Passing at home, just not enough to get it done. B. Will is joining me. How you doing, man?
There's nothing tangy in my cup, but I wish there was.
Yeah. Just water.
Lemon water tonight.
Lemon. Ooh. Okay.
That's how frustrated I know.
You hit him with the razzle dazzle. Throw a little lemon in that piece, huh?
Yeah, buddy.
Man, let me go get this lemon. This is terrible.
Something's got to go right. We need lemon in the water. As I watch this scene, I want to say the thing that sticks out the most is their continued lack of commitment, not even to one quarterback. Whether it was Peyton Thorne or Robbie Ashford, they pretty much refused to push the ball downfield or to allow either one to push the ball downfield, except for the end of the first half, which Robbie made a throw with the double coverage, but it's the end of the first half. You're either going to get points or you're not, and you have to make up that ground very quickly. So I get the attempt. I'm not really mad at that. I saw, and I'm going to give a shout out to Pablo Escobar because he made this statement on Twitter earlier in the year. Earlier in the week. And I want to echo it because it's something that I've been thinking as well. And that is, I saw Cadillac, an offensive line coach and a wide receiver coach, put together more offense, yardage, and points in a week of the entire staff being turned over with less talent. And it made much more sense and was more productive than what we saw tonight. I don't think there's any excuse for this anymore. Like this is willfully defiant. This is willfully, I'm not going to even try to let one guy or the other. Like, you let Peyton Thorne try to throw for most of the year, really until up through Georgia, right? So LSU was the realization that, okay, maybe this isn't going to work with Peyton Thorne either. If it's because you don't trust your wide receivers or you don't feel like you can count on them, cool. We had a problem with wide receiver play last year. Somehow, we turned out 200 to 300 yards on the ground per game. Competitive we won 2 games. We lost the Mississippi State game, but we put up 30-something points in an overtime loss. And in the Bama game, we couldn't keep up with them. My defense couldn't hold them down, but we didn't have a problem scoring points necessarily. What we are seeing is it's them refusing to allow the talent that we have do more than they feel comfortable letting them do. That's it. It is, well, I don't really trust that that's going to work, so let's just do this. We are in a position that we were in with Gus, that we were in with Harsin in year 2, and that is that I know exactly what you're going to do, making ourselves easier to defend by trying Peyton Thorne on obvious passing downs with nothing going forward. The defense is not stupid. If you're going to be this non-committed to trying to push the ball downfield, why would we play deep? Cover your wide receivers. You don't even want to throw to your wide receivers. So I'm not going to play them. I'm going to play the run. Now I'm going to stack the box because you're making yourself easier to defend. The Holden Geriner attempted pass, like that was so bad and so disastrous. If I see 12, I'm like, oh, it's a quarterback. Cool. Let me just go run after this man right now. Because
when they weren't fooled at all. Like no one was open downfield. Like Holden never had a shot at that. He was going to get sacked unless he just threw it away.
This is an embarrassment, and we rightfully Harsin caught a lot of grief because of the product on the field in year 2 and after Bo went down in year 1. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the exact same place. It's not because, and we've said this before, Gus knows football. Harsin knows football. I believe Hugh Freeze and Philip Montgomery know football. What they don't want to do, apparently, is adapt what the scheme and what the strategy is for what the players they have are capable of doing. They don't want to do it. They refuse to do it. All three. Forcing Bo Nix to throw down the field all the time. He goes to Oregon. He throws short and intermediate a lot more. The man is 80-something%. The offense soars because he left. They allowed him to do something he's better at doing. Harsin, Bo was actually turning the corner into Harsin. I thought he was playing better. He gets hurt. Then what do? Well, TJ gets hurt. We can't really block for TJ with the offensive line we had. Robbie comes in. What does Robbie do? Tries to do this pro pass offense thing. It doesn't work. Caddy is the only person in the last 4 years that has said, here's what we got. So this is what we're going to do. And committed to it. Not just do it a little bit. No, well, just hand this off. Defenses aren't stupid. If all you're going to do is run the ball, read option, then yeah, they're going to be onto it. They're going to put people in the box. Did our offensive coaches just expect it to work? Well, let's just block a little harder this time. I don't understand this. So Caddy is the only person to make the offense make sense. Hugh Freeze comes in here. Granted, he gave it a valiant effort. All right. Peyton Thorne ended up not being who we thought he was going to be. A lot of these transfers, honestly, have not panned out. So the pass game that he imagined is not there. You can't make it out of nothing. The cupboards have been bare for a very, very, very long time. I get that. I'm still watching the game now. See Jarquez on a really big run right now. The pass game isn't going to materialize out of thin air. If the pass game is not going to work, why not commit to the one thing? I saw a worse offensive line last year get turned into a offensive line that was able to do what was asked of them. So don't tell me it's not possible. Like I just saw it. I just saw it with one of the quarterbacks that's been getting playing time when he was even less capable of throwing because he was injured. Don't tell me it's not possible, because it is. This is a refusal to put our players in the best position to win for this year. I get it. He's got a lot coming in next year, a whole lot. And it looks promising. I mean, a lot of recruits there. I hope we didn't embarrass ourselves tonight. I mean, I feel kind of embarrassed. I don't know how the recruits feel about the performance. Everything going forward looks better for Hugh Freeze. Right now, the only difference between Freeze year 1 and Harsin year 2 is a great recruiting class on the horizon. That's it. That is it. That's the only difference.
Yeah. Where does Auburn go from here? Like, if is Hugh Freeze would tell you there's a talent issue, but again, my critique with this coaching staff has just been their game day decisions and how they call games. Hugh Freeze said coming off of the bye week that the things that we're asking guys to do, if they can't do it, we're not going to ask them to do that. So basically what you're going to ask this team to do is just run the ball so much until you can't run anymore, and then you're forced to throw the ball. Now you're behind.
So vanilla, though. Like last year, they threw the kitchen sink at the run game. They said, we're going to run it every which way. 2 dynamic backs. We're going to put the backs on the field at the same time. We're going to mix things up. It's going to look different. It's going to be different. And that's how we're going to attack this. And that was cool. And that worked. It worked. Now, there are limitations on that because I don't think you're going to beat an awesome defense by doing that, but you're going to stand a chance with one of a defense of ours that has been able to keep us in every game.
But see, here's what's frustrating. Now they just scored, throwing the ball.
But they have to, and Ole Miss is playing safe just not to give up a big play quickly. So they're leaving the middle and intermediates a little shorter. So it's a little fool's goal at this point.
I know that, but my point is that defenses aren't expecting much from us in the passing game anyway. You're telling me you can't put together a competent game plan that shows you being able to take advantage of what the defense gives you. Ole Miss has been playing downfield for much of this game. I'm not saying that Auburn has a chance in this game. I'm saying, why am I seeing you throw the ball now that the game is out of reach? If this is going to be the outcome of how we're playing this game, because the defense is still getting worn down, B.
Yeah.
You're worried about your defense. Here's what happened. It doesn't matter if you don't get a first down. We were not getting first downs in the second half.
Yeah.
So even though you're trying to run the ball, you're still giving the ball back to a team that runs a high tempo offense. Run your offense. That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. Run your offense. So let's before we get to the comments, I know you guys are ready to vent, and this is about y'all tonight. Let y'all come in here and kind of give your thoughts. This is a members only. We decided to make this members only, just for it to be a troll-free environment. But guys, this is brought to you by Prize Picks. Head over there, guys, as you're making your picks throughout the day. Use code RAPPORT where you can get your first deposit matched up to $100. Shouts out to them. Definitely want to shout out another show sponsor, Rogue Shop. Head to rogueshop.com. Use code RAPPORT. Go get your gummies, all the herbal supplements that they have. Shouts out to them for being a long-term sponsor of the War Report. Also, just want to shout out Lynch Toyota of Auburn. Head to lynchtoyotaofauburn.com. Definitely want to give them love for being a sponsor of the War Report as well. I'm bringing B back here. Let's get to some comments, see what the people are saying.
Let's do it.
AU Alum 94 says, Coach Hugh Freeze may be a good coach. I really don't know. What I do know is he has no clue how to build a winning team around the strength of a current roster. Embarrassing.
Yeah, that's what has been most embarrassing. But again, I'm going to repeat this. This has been embarrassing, and this has been the case for 3 coaches straight. If you don't have the tools to execute what you want to execute, do something different, please. We saw one head coach, full-time head coach, not an interim coach. We saw none of our head coaches, do that. We saw one interim coach that said, I see these kids. I see what it is that they can do. And that's all we're going to do is what they can do. I don't know. What are you gaining by only doing what you're doing right now? What have you gained? Like that would be my question. What is the advantage to continuing to run, I guess, your offense, but handcuffing the personnel to do it? Is there? So I'm looking at another loss. I'm looking at a weird face Hugh Freeze, looking all somber and quieted down. And I don't really know what the advantage. So what did we win tonight by not going to not a run game where you're actually running your offense, but only doing the 20% of the playbook because that's all you feel comfortable doing, but an actual run game where the run game is the whole offense and you are trying every which way. You start to open up and sneak some passes in there. If you're going to handcuff your guys to only run 20%, turn that 20% into the whole offense, the whole playbook, expand it and build upon it. I don't know what the advantage of this is other than embarrassing the fan base, frustrating the fan base. Something that I thought about when I was watching this was how now in college, because of what we're asking fans to do to supplement us recruiting talent in NIL, How motivated would you be? Like, you can say, well, I bought season tickets. The people who get good tickets, they don't just buy those tickets. They are donating to scholarship funds. They are donating to the athletic program. And now they're donating to NIL. They are giving, you're asking them to give money 1, 2, and 3 times to watch a terrible product. If you, the coach, are focused on the future, I mean, you should be focused on recruiting. You got to care about what's going on right now. Don't tell me these guys can't do better than this. Don't tell me we can't do better than a garbage time touchdown when the defense is when their defense is giving you as many yards as you want. I refuse to believe that. And I think asking the fan base to just be okay with this right now, I think that's too far. I think he's I don't think that he should be doing that. I think he should actually be trying to win some games for these fans right now. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Knox Cleveland says, dude, our defense played well and gave our offense so many opportunities to make plays, but they just can't stay on the field. No, they cannot. I agree with you totally. Ole Miss, time of possession in this game, gentlemen. Everything that I said didn't need to happen. Auburn had the ball for 25 minutes. Ole Miss had it for 33. A team like Ole Miss, who is good at running the football, a team that likes to use tempo, that's a recipe for disaster. You got to figure out how you can get first downs, how you can keep the chains moving, because you got to play keep away. But when you're that vanilla of an offense and you're determined that you don't trust your quarterbacks to throw a pass downfield, to throw a pass. We threw the ball 17 times between Robbie and Peyton Thorne. 17 times, B.
Yeah. I was there. I seen it. Unfortunately, I saw it. And a lot of that was Thorne at the end trying to play catch up.
The defense played again. You had them at 14 points. You had them at 14 points in the third quarter. You're doing your job, but if you keep going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, eventually Ole Miss is going to figure something out. All right. Get to some more comments. Damian Smith says play calling is cautious and the system is not the strength of the roster. Coach Hugh Freeze is committed to his system and sees it as the future of Auburn football. Issue is it doesn't work for this roster. I don't even know if this is his offense.
I don't know. People are trying to put a lot on Philip Montgomery. I don't think there's anything Philip Montgomery is doing or calling that isn't being clear by Hugh Freeze. I think there is a commitment to what we are seeing as far as switching quarterbacks out and what not to try. And Philip Montgomery is doing what he's asked. Or as JG noted in the past, when we were first getting started and we were discussing what went wrong with Gus, well, everybody who worked under Gus wasn't terrible, but they worked for a guy. Your boss tells you to do this, you're going to do it. So that's what it's looking like. These decisions are these are top-down decisions that are making us look bad. Yeah.
Damian Smith comes back and says, this hurts a little more because we all know we have a better coach than the last one, but Coach Hugh Freeze seems to see this season as a mulligan. I see it as malpractice to not build a system for what you have.
Yeah.
Damian, couldn't agree more.
Yeah, that's very well said.
Couldn't agree more, man. AU alum says, would you take Bo and Kiffin now? I would take anything other than this.
Lane Kiffin was going to be just as rough. It was going to be just as rough because we still didn't have the roster. However, I will tell you this, Bo Nix would have not been good with the offensive lines that we have had here. He's in a better place. And honestly, I'm actually happy for Bo Nix that he didn't have to go through this. Our roster needed an overhaul, complete overhaul. And Harson's fault was that he wasn't doing anything to make it happen. Hugh Freeze's fault is that he knows that, but he's not committed to doing anything that fits the roster that we have before the overhaul. Both of those guys, Bo deserved better, and he got better. No, I still don't want Kiffin. He's still overrated. Them beating an awful Auburn team, like we're still 2012 offense bad guys. I don't think that makes him a good coach for beating our team, though.
I would take anything. And by the way, I did not want Lane Kiffin, but
yeah, I still don't.
I think we deserve a better season than this. We deserve better than this. Andrew Ackerman says, I'm ready for basketball season.
Man, you and me both.
Oof. At least we got something to look forward to, right? James Sawyer says Montgomery calling that terrible trick play to Gurner was trash.
Yeah. Hey, trick plays don't get called without the approval of the head coach, though. They do not. I know that.
Nolan, welcome. Thanks for becoming a member. Austin Holland says that was the play, all caps. That was the play you chose Holden for. Seriously? Yes, he's very serious with that. Frankie Freeze, appreciate the super chat. He says, bro, we are just bad. I don't think it matters what we run. Receivers can't get open. We can't run the ball consistently.
It matters what we run. Receivers can get open. You never know it, though, because we aren't going to actually call plays for. I mean, 6 call passes, maybe before the fourth quarter, maybe 2 or 3 were actually passes where the quarterback got snuffed out. But listen,
the problem is it's probably difficult to get open on obvious passing downs,
right?
When you're not if you're throwing the ball 17 times in a game and you're waiting till it's an obvious passing down to throw, I bet it is a bit more difficult to get open because the defense is expecting you to throw the football.
Yeah.
We are predictable.
Yeah.
So outside of whatever talent issue that we have, the coaching staff isn't helping it by how they're calling the game and game planning. They're not helping it.
Yeah.
The announcers even called it. When Robbie goes in, it's a good chance they're running the ball. What do you know? We ran the ball majority of the time Robbie Ashford was out there. When Payton Thorne comes in on third down, what are we doing? Other than that third and down where we ran it into a corner blitz, defenses know what we're doing. So it's difficult to execute when you're telegraphing to the defense what you're going to run.
Yeah.
Nolan, appreciate I think you super chatted, but I missed your comment. Chat it again to us, man. I will be looking out for it. Be looking out for it, B.
Okay. See if I can find it up here, Nolan.
Damian Smith said, C-Dub, he could, but he won't. He's stuck in doing his scheme. For some reason, he's hell-bent in changing the system. Cold turkey, ripping off the Band-Aid and taking the lumps. And lumps we are taking. I don't even know if you can call it lumps at this point. It's just body blows. Man 256, he says it's so hard to be an Auburn fan right now.
It's tough. It's tough.
It's tough. It's tough. It's tough. We've been through this before, though. I think that's what even hurts more. Doing stuff with Daddy says, freeze, just recruit, baby. Just recruit. Don't even bother coaching the remaining games. Let an assistant do that. Just recruit.
Oh, boy. I mean, but I just hope the recruits think that they are the difference and they aren't swayed by this display. I hope.
Yeah. I don't know. Johnny H says maybe if we get Hugh Free. Oh God.
No.
Well, I gotta read this. His hooker's back. He'll regain his mojo. Thanks, Johnny H. Ethan Barnett says before the fourth quarter, only 6 pass attempts is insane.
That's wild. That's real wild. That is intentional. I don't want to try to throw the ball. Don't even want to let the guys throw the ball.
We're just trying to get through this game and keep it close.
That's it. And we're still losing the games, by the way. So not risking the ball, putting the ball in the air, we're still losing. I don't know if the coaches knew that, but we're still losing. Okay.
Yeah. So Nina says, I don't know that we'll see another win this season. Even New Mexico State can watch the film and defend against us.
Yeah.
We're probably out talent New Mexico State.
Yeah.
But
I do think we'll beat New Mexico State, but yeah.
But when you think about Mississippi State, you think about Vanderbilt on the road.
Yeah.
the back half of the season that saw us feeling good about some of these games, I no longer feel good about, especially if this is the version of Auburn that we should expect to see on Saturdays. I don't feel good about it. New Mexico State, I think we'll get them. Keyword is think. Garrett Weaver, appreciate the super chat. He says that was the worst offensive effort I've seen in a long time. Absolutely embarrassing. We need an emergency fireside with the head coach. Yeah, good luck with that.
He's not gonna tell us nothing.
Yeah, nothing that he ain't already saying in the media.
Yeah.
MH06 just became a member. Welcome. Bert says brother Hugh now responsible for Ole Miss last 2 wins at Auburn. Last 2 wins? Oh, just
2015. No,
oh,
2015
yeah,
where he actually
at
beat
Auburn.
us.
That's right. That's right. See what you did there. Good job. That sailed over my head, but I caught it. Appreciate that. James Jordan says this is the worst management of an offense I've ever seen. Our receivers may not be that talented, but what the F is the excuse for the loading or loafing?
Probably loafing.
Sad day.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, we're going to get back to your comments. Please continue to super chat us. We will definitely get to them as soon as we can. But we're going to bring in Dylan Lark, president of the Robbie Ashford fan club. Your thoughts on the game? Let's hear from you, man. How you feeling? I can't hear you, Dylan.
There we go.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, mad is probably the word I'd go with here. Because I can't even really say that this is on either of the quarterbacks. Like I can't come on any show and broadcast that this is Peyton. This is Robbie Ashford's team from here on out. This game I will not blame on any of the players. This is a Phil Montgomery and Hugh Freeze debacle that they need to figure out, or we're going to be losing to two of the bottom feeders of the West that we are now probably on pace to match with. I assumed that the Arkansas-Mississippi State game that went on today, that thing that happened, I thought that was going to be the battle for 7th place in the West. Well, now Auburn is in if that offense continues to happen, Auburn is in a great spot to finish 7th in the West.
Yeah. 0-8 conference play. That's what we're looking at.
And I understand that the argument is like first year coach can't get mad at a guy who's in his first year or not. That offensive performance from a self-proclaimed quarterback guru and a self-proclaimed offensive-minded coach, because I couldn't tell tonight, said that should never happen. Never. You take Robbie out of the game whenever it's on 3rd down just for Peyton Thorne to get sacked because the O-line isn't great, so you switch up from the run-heavy thing. You call the same 3 RPO plays throughout the entire night, and that double pass from Holden Garner will haunt me for the next years. That might have been the worst. I heard the comment earlier. That might have been the worst offensive performance I can consciously remember off the top of my head.
From an offensive coach. And it seems as though going into this, I said that Auburn's defense, unfortunately, we're going to need the Auburn's defense to give us a short field at least twice in this game. They did it once, and I think if they would have been able to do it in the second half, that would have put us in a position to really make this a tight, interesting game. It's a big ask to do that. So obviously, without doing that, Auburn wasn't able to move the ball until late in the game after it was over. And so that's where we are. This offense is going to have to get some assistance from this defense. And that's difficult. That's a difficult ask week in and week out against SEC opponents. They did it once, but my goodness, this is what we're asking. This is how we're going to get to 28 points. We're still averaging 14 points against Power 5 competition. Against SEC competition, we can only muster 2 points at home.
I'm completely down to give Phil Montgomery the Brian Ferentz clauses throughout the last few weeks of the season, because I don't think I can make it through another one of these games. And we have good defense wise. Alabama's still on the schedule. Arkansas has a pretty decent defense, but our offense can make a 114th ranked defense look like it's a top 20 in any given night. And that's now been back-to-back weeks where that has happened. So I can see a world where Auburn finds a way to mess around and accidentally beat Arkansas and Mississippi State. But there's also the world where I see Auburn going 0-8, and you're going to start getting a lot of loud wanting Freeze to be a one-and-done coach, because, again, like I said, first year or not, you cannot have a season like that. The last time Auburn went 0 in the SEC, that coach got fired right after the end of the season.
Chiswick.
That was Gene Chiswick.
It's
unacceptable.
My question to y'all before we get into the comments is, we're hearing people say, man, Hughes just got to go out and recruit. At what point does losing like this begin to haunt you in terms of negative recruiting? Because if you're in it for some of these elite athletes, and then you begin to get in the ear of a recruit when you look at the trajectory of what Auburn is doing from an offensive standpoint, as well as a program, how does that undermine your ability to recruit and close on some of these top guys?
I would think that whatever you're telling them, I hope it's some really detailed stuff. I hope you're sitting down with film and saying, well, look at what I did at Liberty 2 years ago. Look what I did at Ole Miss when we had Chad Kelly and Laquan Treadwell. Or look at some of the stuff we were running maybe the year after with Shea Patterson, even if some of it wasn't working. This is what we could have done. And this is what we're on the way. This is what we're going to try to do. Don't pay attention to anything that you see right now. I'm making the best out of a bad situation. And don't worry about it. I'm telling you what I'm going to do with you. And you already seen the guy who's going to be coming in with you. You got a quarterback in your class already. We got you set. Don't worry about this. None of this is going to be here when you get here. I'm going to sweep this under the rug, sweep it out the door, and we're going to start brand new when you get here. That's got to be the message, because nothing about what we've seen on offense this year is appealing to any recruit at all. Nothing.
Yeah, and I'm going to address the comments real quick. I did not say that Hugh Freeze is going to be a one-and-done coach. I said you're going to start getting comments for him to be a one-and-done coach. I still think he's going to be here for minimum 2 years. If this season ever happens again, then he ain't going to make it through 2024, i.e. potato guy that happened as well. But you can only get so far on these on commits that aren't fully committed to what you're wanting to do at your program. You have Walker White, who seems like he is like all on board with anything that Hugh Freeze does at Auburn. So you already know that, well, he's here hopefully to stay and be the QB of the future. But if you have some guys who aren't fully sold on Auburn, your environment that Jordan Hare provides can only be enjoyable for so long until they're like, okay, well, I've now my second visit to an Auburn game, and that's another loss that I witnessed because of and if it's an offensive recruit, you watch those two happen because of a lackluster performance from the offense. I mean, look at Georgia. I mean, you had a couple of plays where Auburn's offense actually looked competent, but then you had the rest of the game where it was this might be unfixable, and that's the mind of what a high school recruit's going to think. They want to see that they're not going to have to come to. They want to be like that big a name of a player at the school, but they don't want to come in and try to be like, I can't be Superman. I can't save this program from burning to the ground. So, I mean, you're going to have decommits like that. I mean, and I've even Jaden Lewis and Jalewis Solomon were both like mutual parting of ways per se. But you have some of the other guys left. And I mean,
Solomon was not a mutual parting of ways. That was a loss to South Carolina.
Oh, I'm glad that he chose to jump off of this garbage fire and jumped onto another one. So I mean that's a I don't even, it might be I want to say it's either a lateral move or he just tier below, one of the two.
Yeah. Let's get back to some of you guys. You guys have been commenting, super chatting. Appreciate you guys being here. CM Pat says from the announcers chat, sounds like there are two offenses. Philip Montgomery with Peyton Thorne and Coach Hugh Freeze with Robbie Ashford. They mentioned Coach Hugh Freeze is the only one calling for Robbie.
If that's the case, then Hugh Freeze is a terrible play caller who does not know how to properly use a dual threat quarterback like we thought he did with Malik Willis. He ran the same three plays with Robbie Ashford. It was RPO to the right and RPO to the left, and then quarterback power O. That was it.
Yeah. MH06 says, appreciate the super chat. He says, I disagree. I don't think this is the Coach Hugh Freeze offense. Philip Montgomery is calling plays. How do we thrive down the field with ease at the end of the game? Pick one QB and stick with it. I hear you.
Hugh Freeze is the head coach, and he's also an offensive coach. Hugh Freeze is not letting things be called that he doesn't want to be called. Like this, I don't know why we have to let Hugh Freeze off the hook like Philip Montgomery is not doing what he's told to do. He said that they game plan together in the bye week. He said that they are making these calls together, that Hugh Freeze comes in and gives input. This is at the least, it's a shared failure, but Philip Montgomery is not out there going rogue, acting on his own accord, guys. Y'all got to stop that. That's not what this is. This is a top-down offensive failure, not a bottom-up. It's not how this works.
Yeah, I'm looking straight at I'm looking straight at Hugh Freeze for this. I mean, this is a guy who has control of his offenses everywhere he's been. We're about to be joined by Mike G, who is on the field. I believe Hugh Freeze just got out of his presser, so Mike G is ready to join us. Mike G.
Yeah, somber mood in the somber mood in the press room after this one. Coach Hugh Freeze was not happy with what he saw. I asked him. Well, I pointed out Auburn is on pace for a 25-year historic low in terms of total offense. I asked him if he ever imagined that it would be this hard, and what do you do to fix it? He said that everything is up for evaluation at this point. So. How can Auburn fix it? I'm not sure they know. I think that it will necessitate some coaching changes at the end of the season, but I can't imagine that this will continue in this direction with what we've seen in terms of play calling.
Okay. So audio is a little glitchy over there, but we'll power through it, Mike. It seems like my expectation this game, Mike, was it's going to be more of the same. In terms of what we've seen, in terms of how they've utilized Peyton Thorne and Robbie Ashford. And it continued to kind of be more of what we saw. As Hugh Freeze is evaluating things, what is your assessment of what we can see with the dual or the two QB system in their offense?
Well, first and foremost, it's not working. The two QB system is not working at all. That was the first question he was asked. Why continue to switch QBs at this point? He did not have an answer. They still feel at least somewhat confident in their approach to offense, but we don't have an answer to that right now. I think that is a question that Hugh Freeze has to answer, but we may not get an answer until the end of the season.
Mike, I mean, it was a game where I said going into it, Auburn's defense, in order for Auburn to really have a shot in this game, they were going to have to give the offense a short field. They were going to have to do it twice. They were going to have to get a turnover, and they did that in the first half. They got an interception, ran it down deep into Ole Miss's territory, but they needed one more. Didn't happen. Again, a big ask of your defense, who played fairly well, but talk about the defense and how they played today.
I thought they played well enough to win this game. They got the big turnover that actually led to a score. It's a lot of pressure on your defense. If you're not going to score at least 3 touchdowns in a Power 5 game, you're going to lose a lot of games. People laughed when I said, guys, I'm not so sure about Vanderbilt and Arkansas, Mississippi State. All those games are up in the air if you're going to play like this offensively. You got to score points in this league to be good, and they have not been able to do that thus far. So it's been frustrating, I think, for the defense to play as they are and then have the offense lose time of possession the way that they have. I thought they fought admirably in this one versus a very good Ole Miss offense.
Agreed. What was just your general takeaway from the press conference and talking with you? And do you expect to see any actual changes moving forward?
I don't know, Caesar. My takeaway is they have no idea how to fix this year. They don't know, right? Execute better. I mean, you've run out of players to throw under the bus, right? Now you've got to throw coaches under the bus. You've got to throw yourself under the bus, and which is what he did. He said we got to coach it better. But at this point, my takeaway is they don't know how to fix this. And they're going to have to figure out something, because you have to be able to show some proof of what you're trying to do. Guys, the players are not as bad as the results that we're seeing on the field. They may not be world beaters, but they're not as bad as the results. And I think that is the hard reality that this coaching staff is facing today.
Any other further takeaways, Mike, before you drop off, man?
No, that's it. I'll give my full thoughts tomorrow on the weekend tailgate. But, Auburn has got a long road ahead, I think, in figuring out how to fix this offense.
Yeah. Mike G joining us at the field, post game, coming out of the presser. Appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow on the weekend tailgate, where you'll give your full assessment and thoughts. Appreciate you, man. War Eagle to you.
War Eagle.
That is Mike G. Joining me now is Elliot Huckabee. Elliot, how you doing, man? Take a deep breath.
I'm doing just as well as you can do after watching that for the last couple of hours.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
No words, huh?
What is there to be said that hasn't been said already? I just feel bad for these kids, man. They are playing their tails off out there. And these it's sad. It's sad to see a performance like that just week after week. It's just I just feel for these kids.
Yeah. I think what's frustrating, and Elliot, you can chime in. I think what is hurting is what we're seeing is what typically you see at the end of a coaching tenure. This is at the beginning, and we wasn't expecting it to be all pretty. We knew we were going to lose some games this year. But I think as the season progressed, you didn't want to see a regression of your offense. You wanted to see them begin to figure out some things as they went along, begin to figure out how to best utilize their QBs, how to figure out how to utilize the receivers in their passing game. But it seems like the coaching staff has said, you know what? We're just going to throw the passing offense in the closet, and we're going to see what we can do with our rushing attack. And I think it has led to these types of results, even at home against an Ole Miss team that was beatable. And I think that's what hurts in a lot of these games. Outside the LSU game, these were some winnable games that we lost. But it seems, to Mike G's point, this coaching staff has yet to begin to put some things together to give this fan base hope that, hey, we're heading in the right direction. But your thoughts?
Yeah, it's not so much that we're losing the games, it's how we look while we're losing. The fact that I had to watch a double pass to Holden Gariner in the middle of the field on a drive, like, they don't know what they're doing on offense. It's something new every play. Like, if they would have a scheme that has any resemblance of success that they could build on a little bit each week, I'd be happy. I don't expect them to win every game. I expect them to show somewhat, if any, proof of concept of what they're trying to do, just a little bit. I mean, heading into next year, I have no idea what the game plan would look like next year. It's almost like we've wasted a first year. Like it feels like next year is just going to be another year one where you'll actually see what you're supposed to see this time around.
Yeah. I think that's what scares me too about year 2. B Will, you got a thought?
I'm reading through the comments and some random ones. Catch me back up on what y'all.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. We can pick back up. Actually, let's get to some of the comments, and guys, you chime in as you see fit. Tyrone, appreciate the $2 super chat. I missed your comment there. Robert Guy just became a member. Welcome, sir. MH06 says, by the way, joined again tonight and still no green name. I don't know what's going on with that, but we're gonna have to.
The fact that we can see you means we know it's probably because you joined
chat.
after it
But he
started.
is super chatting though.
That's true. I think I saw the H06 join.
I saw you did become a member,
Yeah.
but I don't see your. Yeah, I just don't see.
We know you in here. We appreciate you. Thank you for joining again. We know you joined.
Yeah, I did. I remember calling you out, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. Connor Hall says doesn't change the outcome, but officiating was garbage in this game.
Yeah. I don't think it would have changed the outcome of this game.
No, it wouldn't have. It wouldn't have. But you know, I hear you. Marquise Harris says looks like the coach is trying to lose. That cute holding play put us out of field goal range. Shaking my head. Nolan comes back and says, if we're going to run the QB and never pass, then at least put in the fastest QB or the most athletic QB. I think Dylan appreciates this comments a lot there. This is Mike Hicks here. He says, Coach Hugh Freeze is truly putting all his eggs in the basket with recruiting. We better keep all these recruits or this makes me very nervous. I'm going to be honest. This makes me nervous now because if this coaching staff is basically communicating in so many words, they're not sure what to do with the players we have. What do the players that we currently have do at the end of the season?
We're going to lose a lot of them.
My point exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Even if we hang on to this impressive class, you gotta have a core already here. And so this is a coaching staff who's so many ways, like this team, in my opinion, is going to look so different in year 2. So different. And I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing because this team had a lot of new faces on it this year from the transfer portal. And we saw how that turned out.
A lot of it was second portal window.
A lot of it was. Agreed. But we missed on some guys in the first portal window too, B. It wasn't like we weren't trying.
We did.
It wasn't like we weren't trying to get some of these guys. We attempted to go after these guys in the first portal. Didn't happen, so we had to take what we can get in the second portal window. What assurances we have that we can get the guys we want out the portal in the first window?
Yeah.
And with all that said, this was still a top 5 transfer class.
Agreed.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't the top 5 transfer class.
Or just maybe they just didn't fit what Coach Hugh Freeze is trying to do. Again, we saw this under Gus, is that Gus would bring in people, but they didn't really fit what he did. But those recruiting classes looked amazing, right? But you need O-linemen. You need guys who fit what you're trying to do. So that makes me worried about the future in terms of how he's managing this roster. Robert Guy, appreciate the $2 super chat there. Jonathan Boyson says, let's be honest, play calling is crap. Put Holden in at wide receiver. Oh, QB change mid-drive. The 3 downs. Let's be honest. Frug this crap. Excuse my French. I'm speechless.
It was embarrassing.
I understand your frustration.
2016, the opening game against Clemson I thought that was the worst it could possibly be. That was like the beginning of the end of Gus having control of his program. Because after that, it felt like he was getting pressure to do different things and change things because nobody liked the way that looked or how it turned out. That was a 1-possession game. And that was a national championship Clemson team that we played against. This was worse to me. I mean, I guess we didn't get to the point where the fullback got like a carry, so it wasn't quite as bad in that way. But I'm still speechless at how poor it's been going changing quarterbacks. It's been really bad, you guys. It's been really, really bad. We are awful on offense. It's terrible.
Robert Guy says, why don't we use that quick pass we used on the last drive mixed with the run the whole game? I don't know, Robert. That's all I was trying to say earlier. Is this actually in the flipping playbook for us to throw a pass? I don't know why we don't call it. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah.
Don't know. Don't know. D-Lev says, I wouldn't be surprised if we had more decommits soon. Can't pass for 100 yards. Can't put up 24 more points. I'm so tired of losing, man. Shake my head. I'm here for you, D-Lev. I'm here for you, man.
Yeah.
Doing stuff with Daddy, $5 super chat. Appreciate it. It's a serious question. Do you think we remain dead last in the SEC in total offense? We are 14th out of 14. Yes. Doing stuff with Daddy. I think we're well on pace to end up right dead last in total offense.
We
Yes.
might. We really might. Yeah.
Yes. I don't see. I don't know how they. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what. I don't even know what to hang on to say. You know what? If they did more of that, I don't know. It's been much of the same. And my expectations is that we will continue to see more of the same unless they truly blow things up, which at this point couldn't hurt, right?
Oh man.
Couldn't hurt. Just like throwing a pass at the end of the game. Couldn't hurt.
At that point, no.
D-Lab says the Raiders is my pro team, so I don't have crap to brag about. I deserve so much better than this.
We all do, D-Lev. We all do.
Dang, you can't even get reprieve on a Sunday, my guy. I'm sorry.
Mm.
Your whole weekend just shot.
I'm sorry, my
My
guy.
condolences, man.
Blue, D, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. What you probably need to do, head over to Rogue Shop, man. Use code RAPPORT. Get you some gummies. Help you relax. Help you chill. Sorry about that, my friend. Sorry about that. Everyone else, too, you go get your gummies. We sending a lot of people to Rogue Shop for sure. All right. Grab some more comments, gentlemen.
Yeah.
I think we're all talked out. Jamal Pye says coaching has been terrible. We can't blame talent. We put a QB at wide receiver out the blue for a
Trick play.
Trick play 5 yards from field goal range. Yeah.
Gus didn't even do that.
Yeah, he didn't. Ooh.
Dang.
Ooh, this was ugly.
This hurt. That one. Oof. I am Hop says I don't know what that thing may be a typo there, but God bless these guys. This was brutal. We had our chances. Yes, we did, but we still had a brutal offense. Keep Robbie in, please. I guess here's my thing, gentlemen. To do what exactly? Run?
If they're gonna call it like they've been calling it, then it really doesn't matter who they put in.
It don't matter.
There's no attempt at creativity. There's no
matter at this point.
It doesn't matter. I saw a staff at the end of last season try to create yards like their lives and their jobs depended on it. And what do you know? They found something. This looks like they're punting on the season. That's what this looks like. We're punting on this season because we've got enough of a recruiting class to where nobody's going to fire. You're not going to lose your job. For the record, said this before, said it when Harsin was here. I said it about, what's his name in Oklahoma right now? Venables in year one look bad. You do not get the entire picture of what a coach is going to be, who he is in 1 year at a new job. You don't do that. that what we're seeing right now is not who Hugh Freeze is going to be for the entirety of his Auburn career if he had 2, 3, 4, 5 years. We can't make that assumption, okay?
Agreed.
With that being said, I think he knows that his continued employment is based on those recruits staying, because now, and we brought this up earlier, you are 1 or 2 recruits away from eyebrows being raised, because the recruits are the entire promise of what he has done so far. Because right now we are not better offensively than Harson's 2022 team. We are not.
No.
So if we are that bad offensively, then what are we keeping you around for? Oh, I've got the recruits. They're committed to me. Okay, right now they are. Please don't lose anybody. Please don't. Get some more wins. You lose an offensive recruit, a 5-star that's on the boat right now that is happy to be here, and somebody bails, then we can look and be like, well, what was all this for? You sold us next year. Obviously, you putting on this year. That's obvious looking at the field. You don't have to say it because we've got eyes and we can see. So if I'm going to look at what you got in the boat for next year, okay, it looks impressive. So far, this would be the most impressive combination of quarterback and wide receiver talent that we've ever had come into Auburn at one time. You got to keep them. And you have to bring them in here. And that might not be enough, because I'm not sure how many of the guys that are here right now playing quarterback. I mean, the 3 guys who have come on the field for quarterback for Auburn, do you really think any of them comes back next year? Peyton Thorne has now been the scapegoat for a terrible offensive season. Does he want to keep up with that? Robbie Ashford has not been. They couldn't commit to him. And when they did put him in the game, they still won't allow him to do more than read handoffs. So they're holding his hand. Do you want that? Holden Gerner got put out there to get embarrassed instead of being given a real opportunity, when apparently he was spinning it better than anybody in fall camp. So they've been playing with your time, playing with your eligibility. The only person who got a fair shot, Peyton Thorne, got committed to early, hasn't done much with it. And now the fan base is booing you every time they put you on the screen. Which one of those 3 wants to come back for that? So now you've got to recruit. You've got to keep this class together and go and figure out who would be willing to come to Auburn and quarterback after seeing this season of offense. He's got his work cut out for him. I wish he hadn't put it on this season, but based on how things are going, that's really what it looks like.
Yeah, and you mentioned like Brent Venables.
Yeah,
he's doing well because he still kept his core intact. Even though he was losing games, there was development with what he had.
Right.
What is Hugh Freeze developing? What does the core even look like next year?
The core is
That's
not
the
core
scary part. That's the scary part.
Yeah.
If you're punting on this year, how do you hang on to the guys that you want to depend on for next year? I don't even know what that looks like. I really don't. Be interesting to see, though. Rigger Spoon says, I know we don't fire first-year coaches, but if we were to lose to New Mexico State, would that change the calculus? Probably not.
No.
Probably not.
No, probably not.
Probably not. I don't think so. Again, Auburn has its coach. They have their guy. This isn't a Harsin situation. They have their guy. And especially if he has the promise of if his Hail Mary is this recruiting class, you almost got to kind of have to see it through. Especially if he's going to go out in the portal and get some guys, get some dudes. It's going to be interesting to see how this roster looks in the spring, given the direction this program is heading right now, or this season is heading, I should say. Yeah. But no, Rigger Spoon, I think fans, to Dylan's point, would clamor there will begin rumblings, I would say. I wouldn't say clamoring. There will begin to be rumblings. I think realistically, we know that we can't afford to be paying another buyout to another coach.
Right. We're going
to
yeah.
I think fans will be very disappointed in year one. We already said if Hugh Freeze won 6 games or less, it was a disaster. Now we're talking about what if we lost to New Mexico State. That's where we are now in this season. Some fans aren't even confident in beating New Mexico State. It's not good.
Yeah.
Not good. Appreciate the super chat though, Rigger Spoon.
Appreciate you,
you
Rigger.
being with us, man. James Barnett says, I'm confused. Why open up competition, especially at QB, if you're not going to make the full-time change, regardless it's Peyton Thorne or Robbie? This
I don't
coaching
know.
staff is not confident in any of his QBs throwing the ball. To your point, B, it doesn't matter. At this point, you could put me out there at this point. I just better read my keys and how to hand the ball off or pull it.
Yeah.
Because that's the playbook.
Yeah.
That's the playbook.
Yeah.
They're not confident in these QBs throwing the ball. So at this point, it don't really matter who's out there at this point.
It does not. It does not.
Rick says trash time will make the stats look better. Epitome of the issue. Your third-year starter takes a sack in the last drive, forcing you to take timeouts.
Yeah, let's be clear here. The passing game hasn't looked good, and I do think that that's for multiple reasons. Peyton Thorne taking sacks, not being able to keep his eyes downfield on passing plays. The mental part of the game that a 2+ year starter should have, him not being able to have firm control of those things, I think is probably the most disappointing thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you bring in an experienced quarterback, the most experienced is supposed to at least build you a floor that you're not going to slip under. Easy calls at the line should not be something we struggle with. Recognition of the blitz should not be something we struggle with. Knowing the situation down and distance and being able to protect the ball, throwaways, that's something that you can do if you don't want to lose yardage, you know what I mean? So what happens is a quarterback throws it in the direction of a wide receiver, but far out of the reach of any player that's on the field. So that way,
You explain it to us like we're Peyton Thorne, but I hear you. I feel you.
So that's what happens, and I assume that these guys know that. I assume, but I mean, I don't. We can't assume anything. So yeah, those things not being able to that's probably the biggest surprise. Not only that, but the fact that a head coach will continue to put a player out there who struggles with things that should be the result of maturity and experience, and we aren't seeing any of it. I have no idea what's going on.
Appreciate you, Rick. Ben Bloodworth says it feels like our offense is run by random. Ben, you win. Ben, you win tonight. That was amazing.
That was remarkable.
That was amazing. Thanks, Ben. SMT says, I would love to see a players press conference, but I bet it goes something like this. We keep fighting, but our lack of coaching talent hurt us. Those players are hurting, man. I hate it for those players. I hate it for the seniors. I hate it for the captains and the leaders of this team. I really hate it for those guys. I can only imagine how they're feeling. Ben Bloodworth says, any chance Gus called Coach Hugh Freeze last season and said, brother, you got to get in on this Auburn coach buyout retirement plan?
I mean, not Hugh Freeze.
It's just the joke, but yeah.
I know. It's just I keep thinking Hugh Freeze was thirsty for this opportunity to get back in the conference and at a better program than Ole Miss. Listen, Auburn is still a better program than Ole Miss. History bears that out. The numbers bear that out. The recruiting classes right now bear that out. Us being in the worst slump across 3 years of coaches does not change the fact that Auburn is historically and still currently the better program. Now, with that being said, Hugh Freeze, he must have gotten the green light, the vote, listen, do whatever you gotta do year one. We don't care how bad it's gonna get. I don't think Hugh Freeze is planning on getting fired from here and collecting the buyout. I don't, Ben, but yeah, I wonder what Gus called him. Hugh said, "Look, I'm probably gonna take it." What does Gus say to that? Hey, just watch out for this guy and that guy because they're gonna try to change your stuff. I really wonder what that guy. I would love to be the fly on that wall, the FBI agent that taps that phone because they tap all the calls everywhere. 10-4 hat.
Yeah, yeah, it's a joke. I know Hugh Freeze ain't trying to get this is his big comeback. I'm just curious how he pulls it together. That's all. I'm just curious how he pulls it together, given how this season has gone. It seems to have gone off the rails.
Yeah.
Not how we thought it would. So you begin to wonder. It's already a tough job navigating year one and going 7-5. Going at 8-4, what a lot of people felt like, hey, was very likely at one point.
Yeah.
Where does he go from here and beyond to get this program to where it's respectable? Is anyone's guess at this point.
Yeah.
He's got to get through the season.
Yeah.
We got a long, 5 weeks?
Mm.
It's a long 5 weeks, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, just put your seatbelt on. It's going to get a little bumpy from here. Chris Brown says, is it that hard to design some basic plays to throw the ball 10 yards down the field? Apparently so, Chris.
Yes.
Apparently so. Apparently so.
And when you do it, you're not allowed to use it again. You got to throw it away. You got to just rip that play sheet out of the playbook. Can't go back to it.
Yeah. Apparently. Prince Major says we had 26 passing yards at the half, 26 at the end of the third quarter. I don't think they trust either QB to throw past 10 yards, and that's the problem. 100% Prince Major. That's why at this point, I don't know what you do at QB. I don't know. People are clamoring for Robbie Ashford. You saw Robbie Ashford tonight.
Yeah.
He ain't throwing the ball.
Nah.
And before he threw the pick, he was 3 of 3. So I'm just like, why aren't you building off of that? You see that he is making some throws. He is making some plays. Give him more. I guess him throwing the pick, that was the end of it for him. Because I don't know. Did he throw another pass after that pick? I think he threw another one, right?
I don't think so. I don't remember. It kind of all runs together as this smear in my mind. I might have tried to wipe my
He
memory
never
off.
threw another pass after that pick.
Look at that.
That was it for him. So, okay. Roderick Tisdale says at this point, let Holden start the rest of the season. What do we have to lose?
I don't know why you don't. Anything you do that's different, nobody would ever look down on you now. Nobody. Everything's got to be on the table. Everything. No, it cannot get worse than it has been. So just open it up. Open it up for one guy and don't take that guy out unless that guy hopefully not gets hurt. Like that's it. Just stick with it. It wouldn't even matter if it was Peyton Thorne. Just put him out there. Let him throw. Because we're going to be bad no matter what because you refuse to actually let one guy do everything. So, just put him out there. We're just round for next season. Defense getting some good snaps to put on tape, for the NFL. A lot of these guys are going to be gone, unfortunately. We're going to be missing them. Let them get some good tape. And I guess the whole offense is just going to leave because that's what seems to be what Hugh Freeze thinks of these guys. Their film is going to be bad. They're not even getting the opportunity to kind of be productive. Just punt on the offense and get the defense their reps so they can go to the league. That's where we're at.
Man, we wasted a quality defense this year. That's sad. That hurts my feelings.
Yeah. Man, if I'm
Chris Chuku, go ahead, Elliot.
If I'm on that defense, I'm looking at portal at the end of the year. I'm not trying to sit back here and play my butt off to have the offense score. I'm gonna go to a contender. I'm gonna go be a quality piece on a contending team. Go to USC. They'll at least score points. You might have a shot at a championship over there. I'm not playing here.
Yeah.
I'm just curious what this roster is going to look like. Prince Shuku says the announcer gave me the answer I was looking for when he said Coach Hugh Freeze will call the plays for Robbie because he has a different playbook. That's why they have to use multiple QBs.
That, to me, that reeks of that's a concession for failure, is what that is. If I have to very specifically call what you're doing, then you already got your hand too tight on it. If you can't trust the people that you hired and delegated to do their jobs, then buddy, It's over. It's over. Offense is done. Cooked. We're just I don't know. We are a metaphorical dead man walking on offense. You don't trust to Philip Montgomery to call the offense, even though that's what you hire him to do. I don't know why you would need to call the plays for Robbie differently. I don't really understand. Robbie didn't even really get an opportunity to do much. Did you just want to hold him back? That's what it looked like if I'm going by the play calling. It was read handoff, called handoff, call QB run. Buddy, I don't know.
Could have let Phil did that.
Yeah.
He was already doing that.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Coach C4 says, can we at least give Robbie 10 passes in one game? Man, seems like they try to set this kid up to fail. Wow, just read. He agrees with you, B.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Prince Major says, before this game, I thought Thorne was the problem. Leaving this game, I saw he isn't the problem. It's the coaching.
Yeah, it's mostly
this game was on the coaches for sure. This game was definitely on the, and low key has been on the coaches. Even after LSU, I ranted the next day about, and really I didn't really have an issue. I didn't call out Philip Montgomery. It was Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze is an offensive mind. He has called games. He's been a head coach. This is not his first stop. This guy has won before. So what we're seeing here is mind-boggling. It's baffling to see an offense be this bad under an offensive-minded coach who everywhere he's gone, he's done well. Even in year one, he improved the team. You're telling me, I mean, I know we're playing in the SEC against some good competition, but he figured it out everywhere he's been. And so for him to be, as Mike G put it, not quite sure what to do with this offense.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Rod May says, I believe Philip Montgomery will be gone after this year.
Yeah, I'm kind of the mindset that knowing that he, like Gus Malzahn,
He'll be scapegoated.
Like Lane Kiffin, they need to have full control of the offense. I don't think this is something that he can delegate. I think he realizes that after trying not to do it, it's the first time he's ever done it, giving up play calling. I don't think he's going to stick with this.
Make Ken Austin the offensive coordinator, QB's coach. Do what got you to the dance.
Yeah.
Do what got you here. The CEO thing, I'm going to focus on recruiting. Yeah. The recruiting's going well. Thanks.
Let's hope. We got, how many weeks do you say we got left, C?
5.
5 weeks. Add 2 weeks, and that's the end of the recruiting. That's early.
So we got less than 2 months to hang on to who we got committed to this class.
2 months. Well, I think it's right at 2. It's like 2.5. It's after the season ends. We got basically 2 months to hold this class together or add to it, which, don't get me wrong. That's something they should be open to doing as well.
Sure, they are.
Yeah. So 2 months. He's got to hold on for 2 months. So he has to endure the rest of the season. And in those 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks after the season's over, he's got to make significant changes that convince the recruits and the fan base that he understands what didn't work and that we're an improved team going forward. Let's see.
We will see. James Stalling says, look at it this way. We could be Arkansas. Right. Could be.
He's right.
We could be. We're not, because Hugh Freeze is in year 1. Sam Pittman is in year 4.
That's true.
So
That's true.
I appreciate the silver lining, and you are absolutely correct, James. We are not Arkansas. That actually made me feel better. Thanks, James. That was $5 well spent. I do actually feel better because I know they are reeling right now. CM Pat says, y'all, Arson changed his Twitter picture and has Auburn in the background. He making a secret comeback as offensive coordinator. That the tease.
Man, he trolls the fan base because the fan base doesn't like to let him forget how terrible it was. I guess, you're rich, you don't have to work, and the people who wanted to run you out of town, they're miserable. So hey, it's petty. I respect lots of forms of petty. I get it. He's trolling us, which he has done on social media ever since he got let go. So it's all in good fun, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Conservative Cowboy says, I believe Philip Montgomery will be gone at the end of this year. Who would Coach Hugh Freeze get to replace him at OC? Ken Austin.
Perhaps.
Ken Austin. Or if he still wants to do the CEO thing, he gets an OC who has who's more creative, has a more imaginative offense, I would imagine. But I would expect him to kind of do what he's been doing at this point. He's going to be the guy calling the plays on game day. Ken Austin probably can be he's been with him so long. He could be his OC QB coach. That would be my guess. If Philip Montgomery is gone at the end of the season, we don't know how this would shake out. But with the way this offense has gone, I would expect there to be changes on the offensive staff, which it's not hard to imagine Philip Montgomery moving on after this. So we'll see. Our Roper says, I bought a new TV before the Georgia game. Is there any way I can get Albie to sprinkle some holy lemonade on it before Mississippi State?
Don't do that, Al. That'll void your warranty. You don't want any moisture on that television. You might just need to not watch the games on that TV. I have regrets now about getting excited in the first half about those 14 points. Oh man, it was yeah. I don't want you to ruin your TV watching what we've been watching. Watch it on your phone. Watch it on your phone. Put it up on your phone. Watch it there. And then if it looks like we might win, then put it on the TV. Put a victory on the TV. But like trial it on your phone.
Al, you can also change the channel too.
Yeah.
Right.
Change the
Make
channel.
sure you got a case on that phone.
That too. Make sure you get a good case. Yeah. Change the channel too. That helps. I've learned when I change the channel, take some breathing exercises. You can't hurt me if I don't see it. That's what I've learned. Now, because we do the war report and we have to talk about it, I still have to see it. But you don't, Al. You don't. Or maybe you do. I don't know. Justin Williams says Freeze finessed us with this mediocre coach or coaching, thinking he can, or mediocre coach think he can turn this into a championship program. His only accomplishment is beating Bama twice.
Not a bad accomplishment. But yeah. I don't think to be clear here. This is year one. I think the choice that Hugh Freeze is making is I don't have what I need. So we're just going to prepare, run my system, and get ready to be better next year. I don't think there is a real attempt to salvage this season, to play guys who he doesn't think can handle it, or to make attempts with the offense that he doesn't feel will be fruitful or that will carry over to next year. I think that's where he's at. I do not think that Hugh Freeze is a bad coach because of a first year where most of the players aren't who he envisioned running the offense that he wants to run. I don't think that makes you a bad coach. I think that's a choice. And maybe that makes you at worst, a bad manager of people in talent for this year because you brought people in to try to bridge this gap. Hooks hasn't been a difference maker. Shorter hasn't been a difference maker. Fairweather, for all his trying, he hasn't been able to be a difference maker, partially because of quarterback. Thorne hasn't been a difference maker. He tried to bridge the gap with transfer players. It has failed. His failure so far is that he has stuck to trying to run his system, and the guys he brought in to try to bridge the gap from what he had to what he wanted to be did not work out. That's what he has to wear. Now, how much do you put that? Does that mean he's a terrible football coach? He's going to be a terrible head coach? No, that's not indicative of the future. He has a chance to bring in the players he thinks are ideal for his system to coach them and to get us in a better situation. I don't think this year is a sign of what type of, like, you just can't boil down an entire coach's ability and legacy to 1 year. You can't do that. I'm not going to do that. I understand why some people are going to be frustrated about what we've seen so far, though.
Yeah.
And I'll just say this.
Go ahead, Elliot.
The transfer portal era, it's new, and you've really seen just a couple of teams actually be good at it. You saw Lincoln Riley in year one at USC. That was mostly a transfer team. And you've seen Lane kind of do it at Ole Miss. So I think seeing those two teams has raised people's expectations a little bit too high. So when Auburn brings in a decent recruiting class, we just expect it to immediately fix the issues that have been brewing for 3, 4, even 5 years. So I think just kind of having that in mind, that this is really you can't build a team off the transfer portal. You can't do it. So I think once we can kind of get that in our minds, expectations will kind of flare back down. There won't be as much, oh, we need to fire Hugh Freeze after 1 year. Like, need to pump the brakes on that sentiment, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. But, we're fans. That's the root word for fanatic. So you will definitely hear it from some people. Ed Darby says, how bad is Auburn going to be in the new NCAA football game?
I appreciate you making that question about how we're going to look at the game. Like, that's a good question. Like, what's the playbook going to look like? It's going to be awful. It's going to be awful. We're going to be awful. But you know what? Before that game comes out, right? Before that game comes out, we're actually going to get a whole new recruiting class, a transfer class, and we're going to have spring practices. So I wonder if they make it based on that. Like, we're going to have, like, Phillip Montgomery might not be here. There's a lot of changes that could take place. Somebody's going to have to fall on the sword for this year. And I don't think Phillip Montgomery is necessarily a bad offensive coordinator, for the record there as well. I think this is a top-down failure. But we might have a chance of being better. Who knows who we get in the portal? You know what I mean? Who knows? I don't know. I'm trying to be optimistic about that at least.
I can see you trying. I see the effort. Wolf Productions just became a member. Welcome. Philip Coleman, Auburn, where offensive coaches come to die. Ouch. Hugh Freeze ain't dead yet.
Yeah, he's not.
He's not dead yet. I'm not going to say he's dead, but it's been a rough year one for him for sure. SMT says one and done. It's possible. I'm hanging my hat on the morals clause. Oh God. Let's watch 2023. Let's go.
I can't go there with you, SMT.
Can't go there with you as well. Yeah. Guys, any other thoughts before we get out of here? We almost been running an hour and a half. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us. This has been a member-only chat. We decided to make it last minute just because of the frustration, and we know for sure it would have been troll central up in here. But any closing thoughts, Elliot? I'll start with you, man.
It's a disappointing game. I think we really expected a bit too much out of this team this year, and not to say that this is where expectations should have been. Yes, there have been 2 or 3 games that we really should have won on this schedule, and that does fall back on the coaches. But the sentiment that the sky is falling, it's not. There's still 5 games left. They could still turn it around. I think they're still going to beat Mississippi State, Arkansas, Vandy, New Mexico. I watching that Arkansas Mississippi State game, they're going to get those 2 teams. I firmly believe that. So
if we lose to one,
this is probably that's rough.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is the end of the toughest part of our schedule, so I think that it can't get worse from here. It can't. There's no way.
Well, you think you can't, and then we could lose.
We lost. We lost to outside of Texas A&M, 3 ranked opponents. So this has been a tough 3 weeks for us, for sure. 4 weeks if you include A&M. We'll see how we look against a lesser competition. But at home, I mean, the score looked a lot like this against Georgia. We were right there against them. So at home against Mississippi State, could be a dub. Even it out at 4-4. You go on the road, beat Arkansas 5-4. They could perhaps maybe figure some things out. It has to start next week, though. It has to start next week.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite sure if you continue to do a lot of the things that has pretty much cost you games, or at least didn't give you a chance to take advantage of games. We were in this game with Ole Miss. The game plan allowed us to be very predictable, hung our defense out to dry, made us we couldn't take advantage. Couldn't take advantage of Ole Miss giving the ball back to us through punting. It was a punt fest at first. Then Ole Miss begin to figure some things out.
Yeah,
we got to figure some things out on offense, and we can't be that predictable. They have to rip the Band-Aid off and just run this offense. They can't keep trying to protect these guys, because you're not protecting them. You're hurting these guys. So I'm hoping that we begin to see something different next week, especially if we hope to win or take advantage of lesser competition or unranked opponents on our schedule, I should say. B, any thoughts before we get out of here, man?
Nah, we've belabored it enough tonight. Just gonna sleep on it and reflect on it tomorrow on the weekend tailgate.
Well, y'all been watching. Before you get out of here, if you may have noticed, you haven't been able to comment. We made this members only at the last minute. To become a member, $5.99 a month to get you there, but you also get access to some perks. Some of the perks being Ike doing film review. It's probably going to be a tough film review this upcoming week, but he does a film review to preview what we did in the past game, but also preview upcoming opponents. So 2 film reviews in a week. So you get access to that behind the paywall. Definitely worth your money and time. So we appreciate all of those who have done that. You can also give a gift or membership. Definitely do that, guys. That tends to help people out a lot. We appreciate you for doing that as well. Again, special shout out to Prize Picks. Please head over to Prize Picks. Use code RAPPORT where you get your first deposit matched up to $100. Also, special shout out to Rogue Shop. Use code RAPPORT there. Manscaped, another one of our show sponsors. Please head over to manscaped.com and use code RAPPORT on all the products you purchase there. Special shout out to them. We're going to get out of here. We appreciate y'all for hanging out with us. We will be back tomorrow with the weekend tailgate. Keep your head up, Auburn fans. As always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.